This is back then. 9-9. Reporting live from the void. As you can see in the title, I'm talking about the first episode of the new It TV show. I'm kind of over the years I've read a lot of Stephen King books. I enjoy some of the movies. Sort of on a case by case basis because not every movie is good, and then there's some stories that just don't work in my opinion, like the Christine one. Like, I saw the movie and I was like, well, maybe the book is scary, but it's like, fundamentally, how do you make a car scary chasing you or whatever? But I think it's more of an exercise in him being able to write it, produce it, put it out. But I don't think the story itself is inherently scary. But I like the old miniseries, It. The actor Tim Curry, he's still alive, but he's been sort of he's had a lot of medical issues where he he pretty much retired from acting, kind of. But he was fabulous as the character Pennywise. He was dope. Over time, I've come to, I don't like the way his head is so big, but I do enjoy certain aspects of the new Pennywise from the last series or whatever. So I kind of reluctantly, clicked into this TV show because I was like, bro, they're just going to mess up my relationship to the story, by, telling me, oh, yeah, that one character that you thought you knew for the last 30 years, he wouldn't have been nothing without this character that you didn't even know existed, So, but then I was like, give yourself some more emotional credit. You could watch this show and protect, your core ideas and just see what bullshit they coming up with now. And bullshit is a connotation that's like gonna seem inherently negative, but the idea is, as long as I've known about the character Pennywise, I have internal ideas about the character. And I'm pretty sure whether or not, I don't know if the people working on this show, like the director, he directed the It movies or whatever, or at least he directed the first episode of this series. Is he the best director for the job? We don't know. There was a director, his name is Carey, and his last name is Fukayera or something. I don't know. I totally butchered that. But he directed the first season of True Detective, and he kind of had a lot of momentum when he first came out. But I don't know. I'm not going to speak on, because I kind of vaguely know what happened, but I don't really know what happened to him. So I won't even, throw that accusation out there. But something happened to him to where he kind of got put on the back burner in Hollywood for some reason. But he was up to direct the movie It first. And then I think they wanted to cut the budget or, creative differences, quote unquote, whenever they say that. You never know what the real answer is, but that's kind of like just the general answer they say when a person walks away from the project. But it would have been interesting to see his version of the movie. But the director, Andy Muschietti, or again, I don't know how to say his last name, but he did an okay job. It was all right, I think the story, It, is in the book form, and the movie, it's great up until the finale, because the finale, no matter how you do it, it's going to fall flat. He turns into a spider, or he doesn't turn into a spider, and somehow the kid's just saying, we're not afraid of you, makes him weak. Um, you know, the story needs a better ending. So it just all, for me, it loses momentum every time it gets there. But everything up into that, everything until you think about, if Pennywise really wants to kill these kids, he should just kill them. But he has, hubris. Maybe he's overconfident, but that's a fine line. The villain being overconfident and then the villain being stupid. It's like, bro, just kill them. But he, in the movie, at least in the It movies, the second adaptation of it, he peekaboos the kids 5 times each. Like, hey, I'm Pennywise. It's like, bro, when you first got him alone, just kill him. But there'd never be no movie. So the reason why I wanted to, document this feeling that I was having is because I was watching the new show, and the new show is a little more diverse than the sort of original. Even more so than the first movie. Like in the first movie, you would think that the African American character was the only African American character in town. And in the new show, there's an African American character that's introduced, and he's in the military. And they show you like a little scene where there's like some on the surface racism, like a little bit of race, like there's a character that doesn't want to call him by his rank or something, and then there's another Caucasian, officer, seemingly. He comes up there and he stands up for the African American character and whatnot. And so and then earlier in the show, there was an African American man working at the movie theater, and that he has a Caucasian coworker. And so my problem with this show so far, or just this concept when they do these things now, when they make modern movies about these time periods, is if a kid was growing up today and they watch this show without proper context, it gives rise to the idea that what were African American people complaining about? Like, yeah, like not everybody was racist. Like it was like there's a whole, like, yeah, I'm not racist. There's like so many chill, Caucasian people. Like, was it that bad? And the answer to that is, yeah, bro, it was bad. Serving your country. Do you think the Tuskegee Airmen, they had chill times, in the sense where, imagine being at war, knowing that your planes were secondhand, that you're not getting the funding that you needed, they're treating other people, with more respect, just all kinds of things that I don't even know about because I'm not a historian. But what I'm saying is the Tuskegee Airmen, when they went places within the military, it wasn't a chill environment. There was still white only, colored only. There were still these things. And so that makes what they did even more amazing. But if you watch this show, you would think that being African American in this time period was a cakewalk, bro. Like, oh yeah, there was some light racism, and it was like, no, it wasn't light. It was like 24/7, and you weren't going to get backed up by your commanding officer. And I say that not every person, obviously not every person that was not of color in this country was racist during that time period, but the institutions were. So, and you could take that for what you want, but for me watching the show, it was like, can't we do the same show, but can't we show how it was, like when Jackie Robinson was the first African American in baseball, when he went around the country, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, you know? In the locker room, it wasn't all, in his own locker room, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. And that must have been a really difficult time for him to have to just go everywhere and be shitted on. So the show so far, they, like I said, they addressed racism, the concept of it on the surface, but it was way more oppressive than that. And then there is the school of thought that we can't expect the TV show Welcome to Derry to give us history lessons. But I think contextually, the show would be better if they wrote it authentically, of how that person would have been treated during that time. I think that's more interesting. And then I think it's also a dangerous way to sort of catalog, what really happened, because based on this show, I could have gone back to 1960 right now and had a chill ass time, I could have just go anywhere in the country according to this TV show, and white people would be my friends. They'd hang out with me. Yeah, now there'd be a couple bad apples, but for the most part, the country is sane. But back then it was insane. So, but yeah, those are my thoughts. Um, I guess I got one more thought. I kind of wish the show wasn't a prequel. Like, I kind of don't, I kind of don't like prequels in the sense where you're like, the author is just milking it. I think one of the best examples of a person in our modern culture that knows how to milk it is George R. R. Martin with Game of Thrones, because this dude is like, he's always finding a way to like go back in time and make up some stuff like, oh, this is 100 years before the show and whatnot. He has a new show coming out called A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is doing that. And then he also has the prequel for the House of Dragons. But I'm like, bro, stop doing prequels. Just what's going on with the new books? What's going on with the new timeline? And it's kind of the same thing. This is just me, extending this for you, but it's kind of the same thing with last year they announced that there was going to be a Batman a Batman book come out that's continuing the story from Batman Returns, and I was hella excited. I was like, and they like strategically, at least the marketing I saw, it said continuing the story. So then I get the book, and then I find out that this book isn't advancing the story. It's in between Batman 1989, and then Batman Returns. So the book changes nothing, you know? Batman doesn't die, obviously, because he doesn't die in Batman Returns. Blah, 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 blah. And so I was like, so I felt kind of robbed, because I was like, bro, fuck, this is stupid. Give me the script for what would have been, the third Tim Burton Batman. And I think this month they're coming out with another book in that series, but I'm not going to read it if it's still just, being a prequel or whatever. So, but long story long, I'm sure the show will be, good for some people. I'm sure some people won't even have this complaint that I have, but when I was watching it, I just, having been in the military myself, that just didn't ring true. That he was just having such a chill time on bass, especially during that time period or whatever. So back to now.